The Language Ladder. How learning more helps you speak English better. Introduction. Do you ever feel like English grammar is a puzzle you can't solve? You learn, you practice, you know many words, but still, speaking perfectly and naturally feels far away. This is common. It's like standing at the bottom of a big hill, wanting to reach the top, but not knowing the best way to get there. Many people learning English feel stuck. They understand a lot, but they don't speak better. What if the best way to learn English grammar isn't from more English books, but from the grammar of other languages? What if there was a quick way to understand difficult English ideas, a way that uses languages you might not even speak well yet? This book, The Language Ladder, shows you how learning new languages, even a third or fourth one, can help you speak English with more confidence and correctness. Our main idea is this: learning a new language, even a third one, helps you understand English grammar and difficult ideas better. It does this by showing you the common patterns and logic that all languages share. Think about it. When you first learned your first language, it felt easy, almost automatic. You didn't think about how verbs change or the order of words. You just picked it up. But when you start learning a new language, this automatic process stops. You have to pause and ask, why do they say it like this? How does this work? When you try hard to understand a new language system, you become more aware of how language in general works. It's like trying to understand how a car engine works. If you've only ever driven one car, you might think all engines are the same. But if you then look at engines from different kinds of cars, you start to see the main parts, the pistons, the fuel, the spark, and how they are put together in different ways. In the same way, when you see different language structures, you begin to see the basic machinery of language. This might sound a bit odd at first. You might be thinking, how can learning Spanish help me with the English subjunctive mood? Or I have trouble with English prepositions. Why would learning French help? The answer is something we call cross-linguistic understanding. Cross-linguistic understanding means being able to see the links, the things that are alike, and the things that are different between languages. You can then use this awareness to understand and use any language better, especially English. It's like building a mental bridge between the languages you know or are learning. When you learn a new language, you start to notice how its grammar works. This can make you think more about how English grammar works. It can help you understand hard English ideas because you see them in a new light by comparing them to rules in another language you know. This makes learning and using English easier and clearer. For example, if you learn a language where verbs change their endings in ways very similar to English, it makes your understanding of English verb tenses stronger. But if you learn a language with a very different system of verb tenses, it doesn't confuse you. Instead, it makes you stop and think, why does English have these specific tenses? What is each one for? This kind of thinking makes your understanding of English grammar much stronger. Or think about sentence structure. English usually follows a subject-verb-object order. But when you learn a language that puts the verb at the end of the sentence, or uses a different order, it makes you more aware of the choices English makes and why those choices are important for clarity. Even learning about noun cases in languages like German or Russian can suddenly make the function of prepositions and word order in English clearer. They seem less like random rules and more like smart choices. Each language you learn doesn't just add to your language skills. It gives you a new way to look at English, making the journey to fluency smoother and more insightful. In the chapters ahead, we will clearly explain how this cross-linguistic understanding works. We will look at common English grammar problems that many learners face. Then, we will show how learning certain parts of other languages can help you understand these English problems better. We will give real examples and comparisons, and offer ways to use this comparison method to improve your English skills. Our goal is always to build real understanding and practical use, not just to make you memorize more rules. This book is for anyone who wants to improve their English, understand grammar better, and find easier ways to learn difficult ideas. You will understand English more clearly, speak more naturally, feel more confident, and enjoy learning more. You will even gain a deeper appreciation for the amazing world of language. Get ready to see English in a completely new way. By using the connections between languages, you will find that the path to speaking English better is already made with the language knowledge you have and the knowledge you will gain. Let's start climbing the language ladder together. 1. Learning another language. Learning a new language is like getting a new pair of glasses. Suddenly, you can see how English works in a different light. This new view makes understanding English much easier. 2. Improving English through language learning. Learning a new language is like getting new glasses for your English. You can suddenly see English rules, like how words change or why sentences are put together a certain way, much more clearly. This new way of looking at things helps you understand hard English ideas, making you speak better and feel more sure of yourself. 3. Understanding grammar. When you learn the rules of another language, it often helps you understand English better. Seeing how other languages talk about time or describe things makes English grammar seem less confusing. It's like a helpful comparison that shows you why English works the way it does. Conclusion: we have reached the end of our time together. Think of it like reaching the top of a hill after a long walk. You have learned many things about English, step by step, and now you can see much more clearly. Do you remember when we started? Our goal was to help you speak English better. We said that learning about languages would be the way. It was not just about learning new words or remembering rules. It was about understanding things in a deeper way. This book has been like a trip, showing you the way. Now, as we stop at this high point, you are ready to see the big world of English with fresh eyes. This end is really just the start of your new adventure. The most important idea we have found is called understanding across languages. Imagine languages are not like separate islands. They are more like rivers that flow and sometimes join together. They share the same sources and patterns. When you learn a new language, even one that seems very different from English, you start to see these links. You begin to notice the basic plans that many languages share. This is not just an interesting idea. It is a very helpful tool. Learning a third language, for example, can be like using a special magnifying glass. It helps you look at English rules with all their strange parts and see why they make sense in a new way. Suddenly, those hard English ideas that seemed confusing might start to make sense. This is not because you memorize them, but because you can compare them to how similar ideas work in another language you know. It is like finding a secret key that opens a door you thought was locked forever. Remember when we talked about different times in the past? For many people, the simple past and the present perfect in English can be hard. But if you learned a language where the difference is shown more clearly, or in a different way, it can suddenly become clear. You see why English uses these ways of speaking, and you can use them with more confidence. That is the power of understanding across languages, seeing the common threads that connect how people talk. This deeper understanding helps you in many ways, not just with English grammar. When you understand why English has certain rules, because you have seen similar things in other languages, your confidence in speaking English naturally grows. You will not stop as much or doubt yourself as much, because you have a strong base of understanding. You will speak with more exactness and skill. You can choose your words and how you build sentences more carefully. This makes your talks clearer and more effective. Imagine you want to explain a difficult idea. Instead of searching for the right words, you can use what you know about different languages. You can put together the best way to say what you mean, like an artist choosing colors from a large box. When you find a new or difficult English idea, you are not starting from nothing. You have a set of tools in your mind, built from your journey through different languages. This helps you figure out the problem and find similar ideas. This makes you a better and quicker learner. In the end, this process helps you truly appreciate how beautiful and complex English is and indeed, how beautiful all languages are. You change from someone who just follows rules to someone who understands them in a smart way. This is a very powerful place to be. So, as you finish this book, remember that learning languages offers many new places to stop and see more, but the learning never really ends. This ending is just a new spot to rest, to see how far you have come, and to look forward to your continuing journey. I hope you keep learning. Keep exploring new languages, even if it is just a little bit at a time. As you do this, look for those connections. When you are speaking or writing English and you find something difficult, stop for a moment and ask yourself, how would I say this idea in another language I know? Do not just try to memorize English rules. Try to understand why they work by comparing them. See mistakes not as failures, but as chances to understand more, now that you have the powerful idea of understanding across languages. Learning languages is something you do your whole life. It brings endless chances to discover, grow, and connect. The best thing you get from this journey, the greatest gift of learning languages, is a deeper feeling of connection to being human. By learning to see the links between languages, you are learning a way to understand everyone. It is a way of speaking that brings people together, helps us feel for others, and makes our view of the world bigger. I hope your journey continues to be full of the joy of finding new things, the strength of connecting with others, and the always growing view of the world that comes from speaking English, and indeed, the world, with more clarity and confidence.